Radio Romania International. You are listening to our 1-hour broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and Japan, which will also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn and via satellite Eutelsat 16A on 11,512 MHz vertical polarization, azimuth 16 degrees east. Symbol rate 29,950 mega symbols per second, standard DVB-S2, modulation 8 PSK, audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Welcome, I'm Mihaela Ignatescu with the news, the headlines. Romanian authorities warned that the number of coronavirus infections will rise in the coming period. The Moldovan Constitutional Court confirms the result of the early parliamentary elections of July 11th. And Romania wins the first Olympic medal in Tokyo thanks to fencer Ana Maria Popescu. The Romanian authorities are once again drawing attention to the fact that the number of cases of infection with the new coronavirus will increase in the next period. A report by the National Institute of Public Health shows that in the most pessimistic scenario, by September 15th, the number of newly reported cases could exceed 1,500 per day. The report also calculated the need for resources and estimates that in the midst of a pandemic wave, at least 500 intensive care beds may be needed. The Minister of Health, Ioana Mihailă, has warned that unvaccinated people are the most exposed to infection. In the last 4 weeks in Romania, 87% of the new cases and 91% of the related deaths were recorded in unvaccinated people. As regards immunization, some 12,000 people got the jab in the past 24 hours. So far, more than 4.7 million Romanians have been fully vaccinated. On Saturday, 126 new cases of infection with SARS-CoV-2 were registered in Romania, in about 26,000 tests, but no COVID-19 related death was registered. The COVID-19 pandemic has worsened in Europe and North America, massively affected by the much more contagious Delta version of the virus. The World Health Organization and the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control have confirmed that the Delta variant is now almost everywhere in Europe and have called on authorities to step up efforts to prevent the virus from spreading further. Globally, this week saw an average of more than 520,000 new daily cases of infection, almost 10% more than last week's average. In the United States, the number of new cases has increased by 62%, and in Europe by 25%. As of Saturday, a 30-day state of alert is in place in Bucharest, District 1, due to what the press calls the garbage crisis. The decision was adopted by the local committee for emergency situations, with the agreement of the prefect, Alin Stoica, at the request of the district mayor, Clotilde Armand. The prefect of the capital motivated his decision by the fact that a large amount of uncontrollable waste has accumulated on the streets, and the provider of sanitation services, the Romprest company, cannot cope. From the opposition, the Social Democratic Party started collecting signatures to dismiss Clotilde Armand, which is in an open conflict with Romprest and her own political partners in the National Liberal Party. The Social Democratic Vice President, Alexandru Petrescu, says the mayor doesn't care about the local community she works for. District 1 is the richest and most economically dynamic in Bucharest. The Constitutional Court of the Republic of Moldova has confirmed the results of the early parliamentary elections held on July 11th and validated the mandates of the elected deputies. The election was won by the Action and Solidarity Party, founded by the head of state, the pro-Western Maia Sandu, with 52.5% of the votes. The electoral bloc of communists and socialists, led by the former pro-Russian heads of state, the communist Vladimir Voronin and the socialist Igor Dodon, came in second with 27.4%. The Populist Party, led by the fugitive oligarch Ilan Shaw, the protagonist of many serious cases of corruption, will also be part of the new parliament. After redistributing the votes of the parties that did not exceed the electoral threshold, the Action and Solidarity Party has 63 out of the 101 seats in parliament, the Communists and Socialists have 32, and the Shaw Party 6. After the validation of the elections by the Constitutional Court, President Sandu convened Parliament for the inaugural session scheduled for Monday. The Action and Solidarity Party leaders have promised to form a new government soon. In our news from sports, at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Romania won the first medal on Saturday. Fencer Ana Maria Popescu won silver in the individual épée event. In the final, she was defeated by the Chinese Yuan Sun 11-10. On Sunday, Romania's under-23 national football team meets the South Korean team for its second Group B match of the Tokyo Olympic tournament. In the same group, also on Sunday, the New Zealand-Honduras match will be played. On Thursday, in the debut match, Romania defeated Honduras 1-0, and New Zealand beat South Korea with the same score. In total, 101 Romanian athletes, 46 women and 55 men, are participating in the Tokyo Olympic Games in 17 disciplines. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, fans are not allowed to attend the Games. And that was the news from Bucharest, Radio Romania International.
Coming up next, The Week in Review.
Hello, welcome to this review of the main events of the week in Romania. On Wednesday, the country registered over 100 new cases of COVID-19 for the first time in 2 months, with an average of 40 cases a day. The number of infections is slightly on the rise, according to the coordinator of the national vaccination campaign, Valeriu Gheorghiță. He said that last week there were reports of almost 40% more infections as opposed to last week. In Romania, the number of cases started going up starting on July the 12th. The rising trend is seen in 20 European countries, especially among youth. According to the data from the European Prognosis Platform, it is estimated that Romania will have 200 cases per day by the end of the month. At the same time, experts estimate a rise in cases of infection with the new Delta strand, but they could not establish when the fourth wave of the pandemic, affecting several European countries already, would reach Romania. As to the third shot of the vaccine, considered necessary by some experts in the case of people with decreased immunity, Minister of Health Ioana Mihaela said that she was awaiting the recommendations of European institutions, but said that complete vaccination for COVID-19 is protection against severe cases and is a safeguard against deadly disease. On Wednesday, President Klaus Iohannis attended the ceremony marking the withdrawal of Romanian troops from Afghanistan. The head of state decorated the flags of units in the theaters of operations and lauded in his speech the sacrifice made by Romanian servicemen and their families. The president said that the mission of Romanian armed forces in Afghanistan stands in history as the longest and most complex military operation abroad past World War II. Over 32,000 military of all stripes took part in this mission. The 1st Battalion, detached to that front in June 2002, was the 26th Infantry Battalion, the Red Scorpions. Over 200 Romanian soldiers were wounded and 27 lost their lives in Afghanistan. At the end of mission, 615 soldiers, alongside 135 tons of material, were repatriated. The cost of the Romanian participation in this conflict was over 3 billion lei. The report on the rule of law in European Union member countries was published on Tuesday by the European Commission. For Romania, the conclusions reference mostly the reforms in the justice system. Special mention was made to attempts to reform legislative amendments between 2017 and 2019 with regards to the setup of the special section for investigating crime in the justice system, as well as to the conditions of hiring and retiring of magistrates or appointing high-ranking prosecutors. The initiative of dismantling the special section has to comply with European law, according to the European Commission, referring to a ruling by the Court of Justice. The report also references a ruling by the Constitutional Court, which says that judges have to refer first to the Constitution, which takes precedence over European law. It also indicates that the principle of community law is under doubt, which may present a substantial hurdle for courts. The executive in Bucharest approved this week earmarking almost 150 million lei for 17 counties in Romania affected by flooding and landslides in the first half of the year. The executive order allocated money for 243 localities in 17 counties affected by extreme weather up until July 15th. Minister of Development, Cece Attila, said that these funds would be used for fixing county roads and bridges. He also said that the funds would be allocated for recovery of the localities starting on July the 16th by another executive order. 2 people have died and 80 were evacuated, with almost 200 homes flooded, with a total of 80 localities and 20 counties affected. Alba, a county in the center of the country, was the worst affected. 101 Romanian athletes, 46 female and 55 males, are attending the Tokyo Olympic Games, running from July 22nd to August 8th. The soccer tournament started on Thursday, one day before the opening. The Romanian under-23 football team won against Honduras 1-0 in Kashima in the Group B of the Games. This has been the Week in Review.
Coming up next on Radio Romania International, Culture and Nature.
Hello and welcome to Culture and Nature. I'm Colin Cotoyo, today presenting Friends with a Shadow, a new book for children. Colin Corsan is an unconventional musician, inspired by folklore sounds that he modernizes in improvisations. He became known to the Romanian public as a wind instrumentalist in a couple of bands. At the same time, the musician is also a writer, who first started as a prose writer for adults, and more recently for children. In 2019,